I'm Pat Holly, and I'm standing in front of my quilt, Imagining India. And this quilt took me about 11 months to make from start to finish. I do all of my own designing and drawing, so that it was machine appliqued and machine quilted. And the inspiration for this quilt came from, I love looking at antique textiles from all around the world, embroideries, other kinds of textiles. And for the last few years, I've really been fascinated with the country India. So I've collected books that have pictures of textiles from India. So when I started designing this quilt, I looked at some of those amazing embroideries and patchwork from India and got my ideas for the drawing. I do actually start kind of in the middle and work my way out to the different borders. Something that I love to do is use the decorative stitches on my sewing machine to embellish the background fabric before I put the applique on. So all of these areas, this gold, the purple, this yellow, again, they all have been stitched before I put the applique on. And all of the fabric in this quilt is silk. So when you do those decorative stitches, you need to stabilize the background. So there is fusible interfacing on the back of the fabric, and then I do my decorative stitches. Then I do a fusible technique for the applique. People have said, isn't it hard working with silk? And because I've stabilized everything, it's not at all. It's very lovely to work with. And I love the brilliant colors you get in silk. So I do all my drawings, I assemble this, and another interesting thing that I like to do is this is not pieced together, it's all appliqued together. So I have joined this gold area to the purple area with this red frame. So there's fusible behind the red frame, and it sort of fused these two sections together. Now some of the design elements obviously came from India. I have a little Taj Mahal, even though the Taj is not green. I took a little license with that. And these little tabs, these are sort of loose hanging kind of little flags from the bottom. And I got that idea from looking at pictures of inside some Indian homes and tents. They have these banners hanging across the doorway with these little flags that hang down. So that's a very Indian-inspired design. What else do you want?
What didn't go well? What's the hard part of it?
Things are pretty planned out for me when I make a quilt, and I'm very good about when I figure out the size that it's going to be. I make sure I have enough fabric before I really even start assembling the quilt. However, another thing I've been liking to do is to add trims to my quilts. So there's a little ribbon here. That's a trim, a purchase trim. This little gold rickrack. This little purple is a purchase trim. Now, and then if we look at the whole quilt, I have a beautiful gold trim all the way around the outside, but it only goes on 3 sides. And I bought that trim. It is a vintage trim. And I did buy it for this quilt, but perhaps at that time I wasn't sure how much I needed, and I didn't buy enough to go all the way around. And actually I'm happy with how that turned out, because I found this beautiful ribbon, and I used that to go along the bottom. And I thought that it was a good solution. So the quilt's called Imagining India. So I made it before I went to India, imagining what it would be like, and now I've been to India. So I was lucky enough to go on a textile tour for 3 weeks to India. So now I'm working on a new quilt that's kind of after I've been there. So look forward to that.